Hello everybody, welcome back, and today you will notice that my channel has gone high tech. So I've got a webcam, which is actually an old iPhone because I am a cheapskate, might be because I'm from Yorkshire. So I'm using an old iPhone as a webcam, so hopefully this works out well. And I've actually got a watermark, which you'll see in the other corner, so I've gone all out now. Maybe this is the way I'll be doing it from now on. So yeah, I've joined the 21st century. So speaking of the 21st century, let's have a look at Bitcoin, and we'll see what's likely to be going on now. As we've seen a little bit of a crawl up, ever so slightly crawling up, to test these levels. We'll go to the 4 hourly, see how that looks. So at the moment, this 4 hourly candle has peaked actually through the 200 exponential and the 21 day simple. And we're resting on the 10-day close, which is something that we like to do with Bitcoin. So what I should say is that on the daily close, on the daily chart, should I say, we've had this big bulbous Bollinger Band, big inflatable balloon sized Bollinger Band, which is now coming to its head. We're going to be tightening up over the next few days, which means that we're going to be gearing up for a big move, whether that be up or down, or maybe both. So we can move up and down, but what's likely to happen is the same thing that I've been saying is likely to happen. We're going to be coming up to test these areas here, this 200 simple, this 200 exponential, maybe breaking through it or being rejected from it, but whichever way it wants to go, it's going to be a bigger move than anything we've seen over this last few weeks. Now, I do believe that we're likely to be coming down to test this area of the 8,000 or even lower. Like we've been wicking into it here, wicking into it a few times. We had a candle body close into it, which then sparked an actual peak up at this level here. When we look at the indicators, we've got nice moves building actually, bit by bit, ever so slowly, which is quite constructive to see that kind of move. So it does appear to me that there is a little bit of incentive for the bulls to move this up and break above this area once again. And if we start to close candle bodies above the 200 exponential, we might be then looking to come back up to test this area here, which is going to be all the way up at 9,150, 9,200 thereabouts. At the moment this is descending, so it will get lower as time goes on, but generally speaking that's the area that needs to be taken out, and it needs to be taken out relatively soon, because when this comes down too much lower, and it is fast descending, if this crosses over this guy here, we've formed a death cross on a daily, and that's what we don't want to see. That should signify or spark a continuation of the move down, and moving down, what we would likely to see is down into this area here. At the moment, if we were to break down, we should find a bounce here. If we take much longer to break down, which would be anywhere around this area here, and I mean we are on the weekly here, so in November, if we're still in this trend, if we break down beneath it, it would actually be a lot worse than it would be if we were to break down now. There's more support for us at this moment in time over these next few weeks than there will be in the weeks after, so the weeks into November to December. We should have at some point decided which direction we're going to go, but what I'm going to say now is that, you know, we still have this descending trend. What we also have incoming is, and this is also another tragic situation for Bitcoin, we have an incoming cross on the Ichimoku cloud on the weekly, and that would be terrible. So what we're looking at here, so we've got two lines here, two blue lines. We're looking at this one, not the palest brightest blue, but the other blue here. This is our conversion line, and it's heavily incoming now towards this one here, this red one, which is our conversion line. And the Ichimoku cloud is very good at signifying a long-term trend. It did it back here and hasn't had a cross since, which has been pretty good actually at spotting that trend. If we go back in time, let's see where the last cross was to the down. The last cross that we had to the down was actually this one here. So that again sparked a continuation. Like I say, it's not as a result of this, but the Ichimoku cloud is very good at telling us where we're likely to go as a result. So we had a cross here back in March 2018, and we continued all the way down to this level here. We had a cross to the up here, which had a nice continuation all the way up here. And now if we do have this cross here, we would probably have a continuation all the way down. Now this is a weekly chart, so a big move now, I say now, we're about to close the week on this candle, but if we have a big move now, or maybe next week, we could perhaps maybe avoid this, but it'd have to be a very big move to avoid this. If this takes place, then we would have continuation down. And the thing about the Ichimoku card, it doesn't really give you an idea of how far it's going to go down. It just tells you that there's a continuation. It doesn't mean that it's going to go down by X amount. It doesn't mean that there'll be 50%, 100%, 35%. It doesn't say any of that. All it means is there's a continuation down. So it could just trickle down ever so slowly to this area here. Could plummet all the way down here. It could go back to where it started, but that's one of the indicators that I like to use for long-term trend analysis, and it's usually pretty good. Like I say, for it to tell us that there's a continuation down at this level here, you don't need to tell us that we've been going down for a while now. Similar to the way that we didn't need to tell us that there's a continuation down here. We've already lost an enormous amount of our profit here at this point before the continuation down, but it is quite good at spotting it. And like I say, when we had the cross on the conversion line over the baseline on the move up, yes, we had been moving up, so you know, it would be nice to have an indicator to tell us we're at the very bottom, but we don't. But what we do have is a relatively reliable indicator to tell us that there's going to be continuation up, which is what happened here, and we had significant moves up. So like I say, we do have that cross coming. We also, like I say, might have a death cross on the daily coming. So we do need to try and avoid all that as best we can. And the only way to avoid that would be at least a $1,000 move to the up and stay in that area. And if we don't stay in that area and we come back down, then these crosses, you know, maybe not this one immediately, but you know, and maybe not the Ichimoku, but we need to get out of this area, and ideally we need to get out of this descending trend. If we get out of this big red trend that we've been rejected on so many times from so many levels now and stayed beneath this whole time, if we can get out of that, then we'll avoid the entire event and we can start being bullish again. But at the moment we are in a very small trading range. It's almost impossible to trade this area because it's quite flimsy at the moment. It's quite weak, so it's I'm not trading it. In fact, all I've done now is I've cashed out all my margin accounts, cashed it all out, and I've put it into some alts that I have high hopes for, and I'm actually just taking some profit as well. In times like this, when the market is very uncertain, there's nothing wrong in taking profit or being cautious and waiting for the next big move, which is what I have done. And I'm not a financial advisor, it's not financial advice, but yeah, I'll be very careful. So just very briefly, what we're looking for is a test of this level here, which is currently at 8,570, no, 8,600 on the spot, which is, as you know, a lot of other people will be telling you, a significant resistance level and a pivotal level if we were to break above it. Anyway, I'll leave it with you there. Thanks for watching. Have a nice weekend. Take it easy.